Hi everybody, I'm Josh Constein with TechCrunch TV, and I'm here today with Todd Jackson from the new app Cover. So we have so many apps on our phones it can be really tough to navigate between them, but Cover's got a cool way for us to find them right when we need them. So why don't you tell me, why did you want to build this?
Oh, it's like you said, Josh. People have tons and tons of apps on their phones now. And the more apps that people get, the more they do with their smartphones, the more pages of their home screen they get, the more folders they get, the more settings they get. And it actually makes your phone harder to navigate and harder to get to the right things. So with Cover, we wanted to build an app that lets you get to the right apps at the right time quickly.
So why don't you give us a look at the demo?
Yeah, absolutely. OK, awesome. So Cover has 4 key features. It's a lock screen for Android that replaces the lock screen that comes with the phone. So you can see this is Cover. The first thing you'll notice about Cover is the right apps at the right time. So you see these 6 apps here along the side. Those are the apps that Cover learns that you use the most in the place that you're in right now. So right now I'm at TechCrunch, I'm out. But if I was at one of the places that Cover knows about, like home, work, or my car, like I walk inside my house, and Cover automatically brings up the apps that I use at home. So Sonos, Nest, Netflix, whatever I use. Likewise, if I'm in the office. So I'll step inside work, and Dropbox and Google Drive and my calendar will pop up automatically. It's really cool. And in the car, this is particularly a lifesaver. So when I'm driving in the car, for me, it's things like Waze, Google Maps, Spotify, and they're right on the lock screen. I don't have to fumble around to get them. And the way that Cover knows that you're in the car is actually through the motion of the phone. Using the accelerometer and the gyroscope, it doesn't use any GPS, so there's no battery drain.
Cool.
So that's the first big feature of Cover.
So what else you got in there?
OK, second big feature of Cover is something that we call Peek. So with Peek, we basically combined the gesture for launching an app and sliding open the lock screen into a single gesture. You can see how that works. It's basically, it gives the effect that that app was sort of like just sitting right beneath the lock screen the entire time. And the reason it's useful is because you can do things like check your calendar really quickly, check social media really quickly. You pull the phone out of your pocket, you check, you put it back in your pocket. It's a really, really fast way to check into apps without even really opening your phone.
Cool.
So that's Peek. OK, third big feature of Cover is jumping directly between apps. So let's say I am typing a message. I'm in my favorite messaging app. I'm writing to someone, hey, let's meet up at such and such a place. And she goes, OK, well, where is it? So I have to look up the address. So the normal way I do this is I hit the home key, I page over, find maps, get the address, come back to my texting. It's a lot of steps. So with Cover, we basically built this really easy way to slide my finger down from the top right of the screen, pop over to Maps, get the address, pop right back into my text. It's almost like how Alt-Tab is on desktop. We built that into mobile. So it's a really quick way to jump directly between apps.
Great. What's the last big feature?
Last feature is smart settings. So let's say I'm back on the outside of Cover here. You can see when I'm out, I like my phone to be on vibrate because if I'm in a restaurant or something, I don't want it to ring. But when I go home, I actually like my phone to be on ringer because that way I can hear it ringing if it's in a different room of the house, unless it's late at night, in which case I like it to be on silent automatically. So Cover makes this really easy to set up in settings. You can see super simple settings, home, work, car, and everywhere else. And you can see the way I have it set up at home is ringer on, but silent at night. So it's basically, smart settings are a way to take those 4 places that Cover knows about and associate a ringer setting that you like with each one. So you can have it vibrate at work, ring at home, however you like it. So those are the 4 features of Cover.
Wow, that's really cool. Thanks.
Cool, thanks.
So you could only build this on Android, right? And why? What's going on with the iOS versus Android ecosystem right now?
Well, I just think that Android is interesting for 2 reasons. One is that as a developer, you can do all of this stuff that you just cannot do on iOS in terms of changing the lock screen of the phone, in terms of launching other apps, monitoring the sensors of the phone, just stuff that you can't do on any other mobile platform. And the second thing that I think is interesting about Android is that there's tons and tons of users. And most startups tend to go iOS first. So you've got all these Android users out there that are used to getting things second, which is lame. And so we wanted to build something really Android first to give those users something first.
What about the monetization gap? A lot of people say it's harder to make money on Android.
Yeah, we've read that. So for Cover, first of all, we're very, very focused on building an app that people love and building an app that people will trust as the home screen of their phone. That's our first priority. Our second priority is growth. After we have an app that's good, getting a lot of people to use it. And our third priority eventually is going to be monetization. So for us, that's a year or 2 down the road, something that we'll think about. And I think that a year or 2 down the road, everything will be very different. I think you'll have billions of Android phones out in the market. And I think a lot of those gaps will have closed by then.
I'm really fascinated to see what you guys are doing with crowdsourcing. So can you tell me how crowdsourcing plays into the app?
Yeah, we use crowdsourcing just to, so basically, Cover learns which apps you use and becomes tailored to you over time. But to help start out, when you first install Cover, we want to give you apps that are appropriate for your home and for your work and for your car. And so we do that by all Cover users seeing the apps that they use and using those to inform basically a cold start experience. If you first install the app and you haven't used it, you have no history yet, we use the experience of other users in an anonymous sort of crowdsource way to get you started.
Well, I'm excited to see what you guys do with it in the future. It'd be awesome if I go to a music venue, it pulls up all of my social sharing apps, or if, like you were saying, if we go to a music festival, then it could actually suggest the app that I might not even know about, but that everybody else who's using Cover is also using at the festival.
Yeah, exactly. Or you step off the plane in New York and it shows you, hey, here's the subway app that everyone uses in New York. The more contextual, the better for us. We want to make a phone, help make a phone that seamlessly adapts to the user and his or her surroundings.
Great. Thanks so much for showing us Cover.
Yeah, of course.
You guys can go download it or sign up to download it now.
Coverscreen.com.